What's happening, everybody? And happy Sunday, or at least as happy as it can be, considering the circumstances. I'm your host, Ari, and I am joined by Kostas Lianos and Marcial today. Three of us, and how are you guys doing today?
You go first, Marcial.
If you ask me as a fan, I've seen better Sundays, but somehow I think the episodes from that comes right after a games like that are always the not the best, but the episode with the most content. I think it's gonna be a good episode.
A true podcaster. Talk like a true podcaster there, Marcial. Um, Personally, hi guys, hello. I would first like to apologize to all the great 307 International fans for my absolute horror show after the Arsenal game. I screwed the pooch. I screwed us a really good show. It's all on me. Technical difficulties all on me. I apologize. I'm going to make it up tonight and the next shows to come. When it comes to what happened tonight, I'm going to be honest, guys. Like, we witnessed a miracle, and we witnessed the second miracle this season. Olympiacos have resurrected the dead for the second time this season. They did it with Panathinaikos. Now they did it with PAOK. Show me any team that has been able to do this two times at least this season. Uh, but in all seriousness, we got some very hard truths to discuss, and I, for one, am not planning to pull any punches tonight.
Marcial?
It's for the amount of times we've watched Greek football, uh, I can say something that everyone should know about Greek football is that when you think you're gonna kill PAOK, you are not going to kill PAOK. It does not happen. Uh, I remember having that discussion either on the pod or on the group chat about Lushescu, saying how much I value this coach because just look at the team PAOK had tonight. Honestly, sometimes you see Ofi's team being better than that on paper. And the guy is able to have his players perform and coming back from 1-0 to 2-1, and it could have been 3-1, 4-1. I don't know. At the end of the game, we were closer to losing 4-1 than anything else. And I don't know. So tonight had the feeling that Mendy was discovering Greek football for the first time again. I mean, the choices, the reaction, the subs, uh, the attitude of the player, the attitude of the coach. I don't know, man. Everything seemed off to me.
Uh, I hear you, Marcial. We're going to get into all of that. But for those of you tuning in, there's almost 90 of you in here already. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're tuning in on YouTube. If you're listening from X or Facebook or one of the other platforms, we encourage you to join YouTube where you can subscribe, get notifications of when we go live and other content that goes live, some of which only shows up on YouTube. So we encourage all of you to migrate over there if you can. You can also check us out on Patreon. There's a lot of content that we offer there, extra content. We have an interview, I believe, this month scheduled with Transfer Room. Really exciting to learn about Transfer Room and how much business gets done and how that's become such an essential part of the transfer windows. We have a lot of great stuff. The WhatsApp chat as well, which is lively. It's lively right now, still going on. I swear, like I will leave it for an hour or two, come back, and there's 1,000 messages I missed. It's unbelievable. But go to patreon.com/307 International if you want to get in on the madness. And lastly, guys, once again, we are finalists in the Football Content Awards for the Best International Podcast. We were there last year. We didn't win anything, but we were the first channel featuring any kind of Greek football content to ever be featured at the Football Content Awards, which is a huge honor. We're back again, hoping that we can do something this year. There's a link in the description. Click the link, go down to the best podcast category, click the international section, and then you'll find us at the bottom. Help us win this and prove that not only Olympiacos matters, but Greek football matters as well. So, boys.
Just one last thing,
Go ahead,
Ali.
Costa.
Feel free, guys, to share the link with your friends across your social media, and also feel free to vote for us via separate platforms, whether that is your laptop, your smartphone, your tablet. Feel free to do that as well. And we thank you for your support as always. Ari, over to you.
Thank you for bringing that up, Costa. Costa's absolutely right. So, guys, quickly take 5 seconds and go do that vote. So it's and help us get the W this year. Let's see if we can do something. It's always a fun time. I'm going to Leeds for sure. Last year we met Gilberto Silva. He was at our table, which was hysterical. Remember that, Costa? So who knows who we'll meet this time? But
Have we
anyway,
ever
boys,
told that story? Have we ever told that story live on record?
we did. Yeah, right. I told it right afterwards.
Uh,
So
and we thought it'd be so fun if he was the one presenting the international award and we won. That'd be the most
that would have
hilarious
been
thing in the
that would have
universe.
been absolutely hilarious. But anyway, I digress, boys. Let's get talking. You both started to share your feelings already about the match. Let's just talk about it. Let's get right into it post match. Olympiacos took the lead in the first half. It was ugly. We weren't playing great football, but we were effective. We got the lead through another beautiful Chiquinho goal. Halftime, it's 1-0, but some players just don't look right. They look tired. Namely, Danny Garcia, Santiago Heze didn't look great. Danny Podence had his moments. He didn't look super great either. Ayub El Kabi, aside from the assist to Chiquinho, wasn't having a great night. And then in the second half, I mean, it got to the point where Danny Garcia and Santiago Heze are asking for subs, both of them. Santiago Heze never gets a sub. He ends up playing right back by the time the game ends. And then Danny Garcia gets subbed off, and he's begging to come off.
I
And
think Eze was doing that. Eze was doing that for Danny Garcia.
oh, he was doing it for Danny Garcia, not
I think
himself.
so. Marcial, isn't this right, Marcial?
Yeah, you might be right. You might be right.
Yeah.
I saw that at different moments, so I thought both of them were asking for subs. But even so, by the 70th minute, Santiago Heze is walking. He cannot run. He was done. He was dead. A walking corpse. The poor kid had run so long against Arsenal. And the poor guy also needed to come out. Lorenzo Scipione has looked good in every match he's come on. Muzakitis, we know, one of the most important midfielders that we have. Both of those guys should have had much more time on the pitch. We were playing with guys that just went through everything in the trenches against Arsenal, and you didn't give a lot of rest to any of these people. I said it in my post-match reaction, Costa and Marcial, and I don't know if you agree with this, but I said this Danny Garcia, Santiago Heze partnership needs to fucking die. That we need to throw it in the dumpster now. It has not done anything for us this season. It has looked horrible. And we have gone with this in every one of our major matches, and we have not gotten anything out of any derby or Champions League match this season as a result. There's no surprise as to why. Danny Garcia is old, and all he is a leg breaker. He's a limited footballer. Santiago Heze, we know what we get from him. He also has his limits. I think his value has peaked right now under Olympiacos. He looks better when he's next to a player like Christos Mouzakitis. And we see Mendilibar so often this season. Look, we know the football's not great. We're used to that by now. This is Mendilibar. Okay? Forget that. But the decision, your players are out there exhausted, ready to faint on the pitch, and you're not making the substitution. We posted the key pass leaders on this club, right? The players that give you the most key passes per 90. 1 and 2 don't surprise. Daniel Podence and Gelson Martins. Who are 3 and 4? Remy Cabella, Yusuf Yazici. Yazici got 5 minutes today, plus extra time. Cabella got nothing. And neither one of them are included in the UEFA list. This is probably the absolute worst I've seen Mendilibar manage the team since he took over Olympiacos. This loss is on him. Nobody else. Yes, Ortega fell. Yes, Biancon had that deflection, which led to that disallowed third goal. Yes, he had mistakes, but this loss goes on Mendilibar. 100%. And I stand by that. One absolute 100%.
Is that because? Do you feel like this goes because of the fact that he won't change the way he approaches the matches, and maybe Olympiacos because of the fact that we focus too much on the high press and we focus too much on one set of tactics. Maybe our rivals, our domestic rivals, have figured us out.
Costa, it's part of that, right? It's part of that. But forget, I don't care about the approach. He's not changing. It's the personnel that I think is the main problem. That's how I see it. Because he won't change anything else. The only thing he changes is personnel. But that's not even being picked right. Martial, I don't know how you feel about that.
I don't know. I have so many things in mind, but I agree with what Costas just said about the high press because when you take some distance from tonight's game, I mean, didn't we get mad about high pressing in general? Because it's almost the first word that we use about Olympiacos when we analyze a player, a signing, a lineup, a loss, a win. I don't know, but tonight, do you truly think a game against PAOK like that is won with pressing? I mean, the game was super slow. Uh, Everyone presses in football. I mean, we do not invent a miracle recipe with high press and stuff. It's the combination of individual talent and a team that made us so good in Greece and in Europe until we reached Champions League. And I think we are trying to no, not we. The coach is trying to die on that specific approach, and it's PAOK, it's the Greek league. You have Yazici on the bench. You have Kabbalah on the bench. You paid 4 million, if not more, for Scipione. You paid 4 million for Nascimento. You paid uh, 2 million and high salary for Taremi. You need to use all of that. You need to use not all of that, but part of that. I mean, I don't understand the lineup. The lineup for me is worse than the loss because PAOK is a serious team. Lucescu is a good coach. We talked about that multiple times. You can lose against PAOK. We lost already against PAOK multiple times. But the, the the ingredient of that loss are very concerning for me because I don't think I don't see how the locker room in general can recover from that. You have Pneumonides with the B team. We have two wingers available. Cabela does not play. Scipione does not play. Uh, Yazici plays 5 minutes. El Kabi misses a lot and he still starts game. Uh, you have Biancon playing over Kalogeropoulos. You paid 4.5 million for Mancha. It does not play when Retsos is out. Like the amount of questions we've had in early October is staggering. And the last part I'm going to say is um, I think we might underestimated the price to pay when you sign Potense that late in the summer because we all know how good Potense is, but when you prepare a team starting from August to September, and you throw Potense as a full starter in September, it destroys everything. I think we went back into the preseason phase, in my opinion. That's why people are frustrating, and I think that's why we lost to PAOK tonight.
Costa?
Well, first of all, I'd like to address a couple of comments from Chris and Christos. I suppose they're two different people. Uh, they want us to also offer our criticism of Vangelis Marinakis. Both of them insinuated that Vangelis Marinakis is our boss. Vangelis Marinakis is not our boss in any way, shape, or form, and we have criticized him many times in this podcast, and we will do it tonight. I will personally. I will offer my 2 cents on Marinakis, and we have praised him where he deserved the praise, just like everyone else in the club. But first off, there's something I would like to address, and that's something I would have discussed after that Arsenal game when I screwed the pooch. I've said it many times in this podcast, guys. We are European Cup winners, and we won that European Cup last year, not 20 years ago, like Greece, who haven't done anything in the last 10 plus years, 11 years. They haven't done anything. They keep talking about Euro 2004. We won a European Cup. We made history. That means the bar has been raised to extremely high levels. The shirt is heavier than ever. This ain't 1999. You can't be happy with a defeat. 10 years in England, 15 years on and off, pretty much. I have never seen Man United, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, not even Tottenham fans celebrating a loss because they played so well. Yes, Olympiacos were not awful against Arsenal. They weren't awful, I give you that. But they still weren't good enough. Yes, Olympiacos missed chances like Potenza with an incredible save by David Raya. But so did Arsenal. If Zolakis hadn't made that incredible save against, if I remember correctly, it was Martin Edegaard, we would have lost 3-0. That's
Yeah.
3-0 is different to 2-0, you know. We could have even lost 4-0. Arsenal also had chances.
They missed. Yes.
This is the Champions League, guys. This is the elite of the elite. This ain't the Europa League. This ain't the conference. This is the Champions League. They don't give points because you looked your opponent in the eye. They don't give points for XGs. They give points for results. And so far in the Champions League, yes, we haven't been shit, but we haven't been good enough. And after that game with PAOK tonight, which of course the Greek journalists are not going to say, oh, how brave Olympiacos were against PAOK because they looked them in the eye. Olympiacos, the first team that scored in Toumba this season across all competitions. No one's going to say it. And of course they're not going to say it because who cares? They lost. This team I saw tonight doesn't convince me at all that they're going to do anything in Barcelona. They don't convince me that they're going to finish in the top 24 in the Champions League. And by the way, guys, Olympiacos have made it to the playoffs of a major European competition 15 times in the last 17 attempts. We're not a Greek team, and that's something I told Christo, are you listening? This is what I told Marinakis a couple of years ago. Olympiacos are not a Greek club. They're a European club. We can't be happy with a defeat. I don't care how good we were. We might have been the best team in that game week, and we were unlucky. We had the wind was blowing against us, against the ball. You cannot be happy with a defeat when you're a European Cup winner, when you are a constant presence in major European competitions beyond the group stages or league phases, whatever you want to call it. We Olympiacos are having a problem right now. We are having a problem. The tactics don't make sense. The opponents, our domestic rivals, have figured us out pretty much. And if we don't beat Ike after the international break, unfortunately, I have so much respect for Jose Luis Mendilibar, but questions will arise regarding his future, and they will not be uncalled for, especially after those transfers that happened. Yes, who was that guy that? The Spanish guy that Olympiacos won, they brought Strefetza instead. Christos mentioned it. Zaragoza. Guys, that guy was very expensive. Zaragoza. And Olympiacos
Yes.
are not the kind of club that could go like this. In 4 years' time, that could cost us dearly. How many years did we pay Marcelo Ferrari until we finally paid him up?
It was not just him. James Rodriguez.
How many
Under the
years did we
arrangement.
pay those guys?
And that killed us. That's what got us into the trouble we had the following 2-3 years. This is bullshit. This is the dumbest thing I've ever read in my life. We need a roster good enough for European football. We have a great coach. We have a mediocre roster. This is one of the best and deepest rosters Olympiacos has ever had. The problem, this is why look, if you want to complain that Marinakis didn't spend as much as you thought he should have, that's a different argument, right? So Marinakis spent, we don't know what the amount total was for Daniel Podence. We know his salary is around the 3 million net figure. We know that something had to be paid to the Saudi clubs, but we don't know exactly how much was spent. We spent 5 plus 3 for Strefetza. So we've spent about over 20 million on transfers if we're estimating with Daniel Podence. Remember, there's new rules that didn't exist before. We can't spend more than 70% of our revenues. The money that we sold that we're getting from Koustulas doesn't come all at once. We're getting 10 million this year, 10 million next year, 10 million the following year, and then whatever comes after that. So the issue becomes regardless of what you wanted to spend, this team on paper is arguably the deepest squad we have ever had. Certainly, our striking trio is the best. Yaremchuk's hurt, but Yaremchuk, Taremi, and El Kabi is the highest profile striking trio we have ever had in this club's history. We have a deep center. We have a deep center mid. The problem here is it's not the quality of players. You can't tell me we don't have the best quality roster in Greece. That's false. We have the best team in Greece. We have a great team for Europe. The problems we have encountered so far this season, they don't have anything to do with approach, although that is a problem as well. Just one that Mendilibar will never change. The problem is with the player choices. We have been struggling until this match against PAOK in the first half of every single game this season. It took us 5 matches in the league before we got our first goal in the first half. Four matches. I keep mixing up the Greek Cup and the Champions League. It took a long time for us to get our first goal in the first half.
Asteras was the first time, and then the league, it was Olympiacos.
Right. Yeah. The cup, we had gotten our first one, and then you're
That
right.
was the first time, and then Olympiacos with Retsos.
Right. And then we got another first half goal today. But then for the first time this season, we absolutely bungled the second half. Not because we made the wrong choices or we got too aggressive, but because we made no choices. When did he decide to bring Mouzakitis on? Martial and Costa. When did he bring Mouzakitis on? The first change. When did that come?
After
It was
the goal.
65th minute. It was 65th
After
minute,
the
wasn't it?
goal. After we had already lost momentum. After we had already lost momentum. We had 2 players, besides Mouzakitis, we had our 2 best creators on the bench in Yusuf Yazici and Remy Kabela. And for some reason, Yazici can never get more than 5 to 8 minutes of time in a match. Stavros Pneumonidis, the teenager, leads the team in smart passes per 90. He has the most passes to cut through the midfield and defensive line to create major scoring chances. The most from a teenager. Where was he? On the B team. One of our best pressing wingers this season. A teenager. So I don't know what was going on in Mendilibar's head today. But Mendilibar has been a bit stubborn, just like he was at the start of last season, with the roster and with the player choices. He needs to go into this international break and refocus and think about what he wants. Because it is not going to work like this. PAOK is a team that has not been able to finish this year. They make chances. They just couldn't finish for shit. It's not good. And it's not that this is just, the first bad game we've had this season. We've been seeing this now. It's been a pattern. But until today, we had the quality to get something out of a match. Against Panathinaikos, we went down. We at least were able to get the draw, right? Unfortunately, we couldn't get a goal against Bafos. We didn't have Remy Kabela. We didn't have Yusuf Yazici. Arsenal, they're too good for you to wait until the second half to turn your ass up. Sorry. And then against PAOK, you waited too long. You tried to make last-minute changes. It doesn't work. The pattern has been there all season so far. And Mendilibar needs to think he has to make the changes earlier. We went through the same thing. I went through all of it already from last season. We are literally going through a carbon copy of what happened at the beginning of last season. We should have learned our lesson by now. But unfortunately, Mendilibar has not learned it yet. And I really hope that the team will start kicking into the gear before it's too late and before we lose Champions League. Because that's the biggest travesty is if by the time we start kicking into gear, our Champions League campaign's over and we have nothing to look forward to except maybe whatever happens in Greece. That would be the biggest shame for what is a fantastic roster.
No, but I think it sounds a little bit negative what we do say because it's not the loss that matters for me. It's the message you can find in it, and I mean, the youngsters, for me, the use of Greek players and Greek youngsters, especially, is equally as important as Champions League. I mean, we do need to win the league, but we need to win it with players that have like future in this club. I do know that if Muzakidis plays 40 times this season, it's probably not staying because the market is bigger than the club. And we saw that with Costulas. But it's 2025. It's 2025 football. And when you coach Olympiacos, uh, I don't know, the first, almost the first name you need to put on the team is Mousakitis. It doesn't matter if the guy plays well, if he's good, if he's average, if he's having a stinker, then you can sub him off. But like bigger clubs use those players, and Mousakitis isn't a regular youngster like I don't know, like Latsikuras. Yeah, it's not Apostolopoulos. You're not giving him a favor by using him. The guy has plenty of talent, and I don't know. It's for me. I'm gonna be a little bit harsh, but it's almost a reason for dismissal if the coach keeps not using Mousakitis, no matter who the coach is.
Doesn't keep using Musakitis, you mean?
If
Yeah,
he,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
if he doesn't keep you, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll say this because the comments are blasting off here. I can barely keep track of it, but
Me too.
I I'm not. I've seen a couple of comments that have like made me like I've had to look at it twice because I can't believe somebody wrote it. But I'm not ready yet for the point where I'm like, all right, Mendy's on the chopping block. Like I'm far from that point. And
What if we don't
again,
beat AEK? Sorry to interrupt, but what if we don't beat AEK? At Karaiskaki, by the way.
oh, at so
That's at
if we
Karaiskaki.
let me tell you, I will say this because if I remember correctly, we started off because of all the draws. We were on a little bit of a back foot, if I remember correctly. We weren't leading because we weren't in first place the whole year last season. We were a few points back because of the draws. So again, now if we don't beat Ike at Gataskaiki, I go from being all right, whatever it is, what it is. It's still early. I do start to get a little bit worried because we've had 4 major matches so far, right? 2 derbies and 2 European matches. We've won 0. If we don't beat Ike at the Karaiskaki, which by the way, Ike is look in Greece at least they're getting results. They don't look so good in Europe, but I think I think Nikolic is a necessary evil for them right now, based on the situation they find themselves in. If we don't find a way to beat a very beatable Ike team that just lost Mukudi, by the way, if we don't find a way to beat them, then you can start coloring me worried because I will start to be getting vibes of like the last season Pedro Martins, where things feel, even though Pedro Martins ended up winning the title that season, things were not looking great. And this isn't something where it's the solution is reinventing the wheel. We already have the wheel, right? It's the players. He just has to find the right players. Now, we had different problems last year when we were going through a similar situation. If you remember, last year, Mendilibar was rotating our center backs every week. We had a new center back pairing every week. This year, it's different. This year, it's the center mids. We've had the same center back pairing as long as Retsos has been healthy every week. The center mids, he's been swapping a lot, maybe too much. When our starting center mid duo is clear. The starting duo is clear. Mousakitis Heze is your best starting mid. I'm even going to go a step further and say I think that the future will be Mousakitis Scipioni. And they're not perfect players either. We saw when Mousakitis came on, he didn't exactly put the world alight. He made some mistakes, but at the same time, the kid does. You do need time to get in rhythm with your players. So when you had 2 players like Jose and Garcia who can't get the ball forward, that's an issue. And it needed a player like Mousakitis earlier. Jose should have come off earlier. We should have introduced fresh legs because by the end of the second half, we were dead tired. And these are the problems that can be changed. They're not big issues. The issues are make the changes earlier. Don't hesitate. That's what needs to be done. We're not asking for, you don't need a system revamp. We never did, even last season. It's all about players. It's all about who's being used at this point and when. We have a talented roster. Anybody complaining about the roster, I don't know what else to tell you. We have a scouted roster. We have our scouting department has gone well beyond, especially this past season, finding young, great finds. We have the third youngest roster in Greece this season. It was the youngest last season. This is what these are the steps we want the club to go to, and this is the steps the clubs have taken. Right now, the issues here is is purely on a rotational aspect for the players, nothing else. Our approach to the game is fine. It's ugly, but it works. What hasn't worked is certain personnel choices. For me, that's all that needs to change.
So
So
you're
it's
happy
still
with the
early.
tactic? Sorry. You please
Yeah,
conclude.
I maybe I'm not unhappy with the tactic because I know it won't change. If it was a coach like Martins who would change tactics, I would be talking about that. But Mendy won't change it, and I don't think he necessarily needs to.
So it's the players. You just think it's we've seen the wrong players for those
Correct.
tactics. That will not change. Okay, yeah, I get you. I
Correct.
follow you.
The same thing happened last year, Costa. Look, by the end of the season, we were cruising, especially in the playoffs.
No, but the true question is, I don't know if against Arsenal, I felt that a part of the tremendous gap of level we've had with Arsenal, it's the physicality of the team is mediocre.
Yes, it is.
And I,
That's how we conceded the opening goal because
Yep.
Guedes just did whatever he wanted with Costinha and Pirola, especially
Yes.
Costinha.
yeah, but a guy, I mean, Costinha's second half against Arsenal was not very good, but
Yeah.
interesting for me. It was good.
It was
But the
effective.
guy, yeah, the guy is he's struggling physically.
Yes,
I
he's
don't
very much
understand
struggling.
what's happening physically with the players. I mean, Rodinei is injured. Well, Yaremchuk we know is injured. Everyone picks knocks. I mean, Strefeza is injured. Gelson has been injured. Like, it's nothing new with the guy, but
Yeah, years now.
Retsos has a knock. Uh, I don't know what's exactly is going on, but the physicality of the team worries me.
Yeah.
It's October, man. We're supposed to be fresh off the summer preparation that was longer than any year combined because we had no qualifiers. We had even stronger friendlies to be like ready for the beginning of the season, and it produced the opposite effect of what we wanted to, almost.
I,
And
I, I, I would like to point out the player's mentality as well, because okay, it's easy to just throw it all onto Mendilibar, but like we've said many times, Mendy cannot come onto the pitch and show them how to win. It is very important, guys, to mention that. And this is something that really annoys me every season with Olympiacos lately. Olympiacos have this tendency in Greek derbies, especially in the first round, to resurrect the dead. Before this match, Salonika was up in arms, talking about how this match could be Razvan Lucescu's last game in charge of PAOK. Some even suggested that PAOK are already looking at other managers. PAOK had been winless for the last four matches across all competitions, and here are some giants that Razvan Lucescu failed to slay heading to the Olympiacos match. Levadiakos in the Greek in the Greek Cup, where they lost 4-1. Panetolikos 0-0 at Toumba, with Panetolikos playing with 10 players. Maccabi Tel Aviv in the Europa League 0-0. Asteras Tripolis, again Asteras Tripolis with a man down 3-3. And then they lose to the mighty Celta Vigo 3-1 like it's nothing, after they opened the scoring. And now here is Olympiacos resurrecting them from the dead and making Razvan Lucescu looking like Pep Guardiola.
Exactly.
Panathinaikos, every season the same thing with Panathinaikos. Panathinaikos are in a horrible situation. They're there for the taking. If there's one match Olympiacos need to win every season, it's against Panathinaikos. Any Olympiacos fan, they'll tell you if there's only one team Olympiacos need to beat every season, no matter what, they're going to say Panathinaikos. Tale as old as time. Panathinaikos are in the dumps. They're there for the taking. They sacked their manager to bring in a completely inexperienced manager. Yes, Vangeli, if you're watching this, he was a fantastic assistant to Jovanovic in Apoel. But assistant and manager, it's a little different. They had drawn, they drew with the Levadiakos at home, 1-1, lost to Kifisia away, 3-2, and then the time came to play against Olympiacos, who were in a much better place, momentum-wise. And Olympiacos almost lost. Yes, it was a penalty on Cabela. It was 100% a penalty. But are we really going to sit here and say the only reason Olympiacos didn't beat a Panathinaikos on their knees is because the referee didn't give us a penalty? Come on, guys, I don't buy this. And I don't blame Mendilibar for this one. Yes, Mendy still needs to figure a few things out. He needs to figure out the right center midfield partnership. I'm not too sure what's going on with El Kabi right now. It seems like Taremi is more clinical than El Kabi right now. He did not look good today, despite the assist against PAOK. But guys, if you are part of such a talented and deep roster, and you cannot win the derbies against teams who are in the dumps, by the way. So you can imagine mentally they're not at the best place in the world. And I'm not too sure PAOK players came in saying, yeah, we got this, guys, despite the fact we haven't won a single game against mediocre opposition in the past 4 fixtures. I'm not too sure they were very confident. And Olympiacos can't get the job done. So if we cannot beat AEK at home, by the way, more questions need to be answered.
I think I just have one question that joins what you just said, because I've seen a comment that I find interesting about Mendilibar, because we do talk a lot about the squad level. Is the squad UCL level? Question mark. For me, I would say no. But the question in general for me is Mendilibar a true Champions League coach? That is the question. That is the question, because the I'm not saying he isn't a Champions League coach, but he needs to learn what is Champions League football too. I mean, he has experience as a coach, but I don't think he played Champions League a lot, if I'm not mistaken. So the whole club needs to get to that UCL level. And when you see Karabakh play, for example, I can anyone watching the show can tell me Karabakh has more Champions League players than Olympiacos? No, they don't. They just don't. They sign player Rio Ave would have signed from Portuguese second and third division, but they do play without fear. And I think that the high press stuff jinxes players. Like, they don't play naturally. Do you truly believe you need to teach to a guy like Kabbalah, for example, what is high press football? The narrative about high press when you sign someone, I mean, I'm taking Kabbalah as an example, but the guy has played in top clubs, top leagues. Even Krasnodar was a top club when he played for them. It doesn't need to learn high press. I mean, that's why I'm frustrated. I'm not asking for Mendilibar to be fired, but the high press stuff like pisses me off so much. Like it's like Olympiacos only has the recipe to win, and if any other club beats us, it's because of a reason. It's because of individual mistakes. That is true, but I don't know. It's this high press stuff pisses me off a lot.
I will say this. I appreciate the high press in a way, right? Like I'm not the type of person that necessarily cares about whether or not we're playing open football in Champions League. I'd like it, you know what I mean? That would be fantastic. But let's be honest here. We're going up against teams, even pot 4 teams have bigger roster values and some of them have bigger budgets than we do. What I care about is an identity, regardless of what the identity is, having the identity and playing to it. So seeing how we pressed against Arsenal the way we did, and listening to the British pundits talk about us and how we played so high, and how impressed they were that we, Olympiacos, a Greek side, is pressing all the way up against Arsenal. We cause them problems. That I'm fine with. And I don't, is it difficult for us to sustain that against these teams that are comfortable playing through a high press? It's very difficult. But that is a type of fearlessness I accept. And I'm fine with that. My issues are more, and you started to talk about both of these things, right? You talked about Remy Cabella. I'll bring up Yusuf Yazici. My issue is, again, not with the play style, not with our overall tactics, because I see what the end goal is with it, right? I know he's not going to change anytime soon. But my primary concern with Mendilibar is you cannot be allergic to your creative players. And you also have to make the moves quicker. Today, he took too long to make the moves. We had lost momentum, and then he decides to make the substitutions. We had already given the game to PAOK at that point. We're lucky we didn't go up. They didn't go up 3-1 with the Biancon clearance that hit Costinha, and Yakumaki scored. That didn't count, but it could have been 3-1 that easy. We got lucky with the Costadelias foul at that point. But, you know, Remy Cabella and Yusuf Yazici, the decision not to use those players, or not to introduce those players is is the problem for me, right? That I don't have an issue with the tactics necessarily. I don't necessarily have an issue with our approach to games. For me, and this has been the same issue we've been having all season, which we didn't cop losses from until now, is when he introduces fresh legs and when he introduces certain players and how long he uses certain players. That is my issue. I don't have a problem with the roster. I still believe this is probably the best roster we've had since the 2000s. I think it's the deepest roster we've had. My only issue is personnel choices. That is it. And I think that if he had made different personnel choices, I think that this would be a completely different story today.
The question I have is going to be very simple. What kind of club, Olympiacos, not having played in Champions League for the past 5 years, think it is not to roster Kabela and Yazici, not to use them almost as first choices? You can debate on that as much as you want. The press, high press, I don't care about that. Every team on football presses now. What kind of club do we think we are not to count of those players?
Who would you
It's
cut?
something.
I would cut Danny Garcia to bring in one of those two. Who's the other one you would cut?
For the UCL list you're talking
Yeah.
about, Diogo and Danny Garcia, to bring both of them.
Do you
He
agree,
hasn't
Martial?
used Diogo.
Do
He
you agree,
you
Martial? Because I interrupted you and I apologize, but do you agree with that, Martial?
Yes, but I mean, I wouldn't have to pick between Garcia and Diogo, for example, at first, because when you do have Kabela and Yazici, and I'm not saying, guys, I'm not saying those are two fantastic players. I know Kabela is old. I know Yazici is coming back ACL. I know that. That being said, you have those two guys in the squad starting the summer. Why why do you sign Nascimento without anyone leaving? Why do you afford? I mean, why do you let the coach cutting two players like that? That would be absolute starters into like 30% of the Champions League clubs. Then even Ajax would feel Yazici if they had Yazici. Ajax, Paphos, all the bottom clubs would feel those guys. Who do we think we are as a club that hasn't? Costa said at the beginning of the post, we've been struggling for years to actually win one Champions League game. The last one was against Marseille a decade ago, man. A decade ago, not a decade, but years ago.
5 years, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, we try to complicate things so much, and that's why I'm talking about high press. I know what high press is. I'm watching football almost every day. Everyone is pressing. Like if I had a kid tomorrow and he turned 3, even the under 3 coach will talk to him about press. Everyone presses in football, but I just can't understand. You play against shitty teams like PAOK that has Tyson that is 45. You have Giacomakis that hasn't scored more than 1 goal of the season.
Oldest squad in Greece, by the way, PAOK. Oldest squad in Greece.
Oh, definitively.
You don't use Habana and Yazici. I don't understand that. I just don't understand that.
That's my issue, Martial. That's above everything else because I don't necessarily believe that a wholesale change of tactics is what's needed because Mendilibar has proved that we don't need it. I mean, we won the double last season. If not for injuries and the trip to the plastic pitch in Bodo, we probably could have gone very far in Europa League last season. The for me it comes down to his stubbornness and personnel choices, and I think that there's a couple other issues. Costa brought it up at the beginning of the show that teams are adjusting to us now, and especially in Greece they know what it takes. They know that all they have to do is pack the box against us, defend the cross, and then they've got us. There were comments complaining about our direct long ball play. That's Mendili ball, baby. That's Mendy ball. We're not getting away from that. That's what Mendilibar wants. Do you know what our average passes per possession is in Champions League right now? You want to take a guess?
Average?
Average passes per possession.
Well, how many then? How many passes we complete throughout the entirety of the 90
2.5.
minutes? Ah, you're
2.5 passes per
averaging it.
possession. In Greece, it is not much better. In Greece, it's in the mid threes. Do you know what it was under Pedro Martins?
How
For
much?
most of his tenure, over 4. You know what it was under Ernesto Valverde?
5.
Over 5.
Jesus.
So it's a huge difference, guys. And the unfortunate thing is the way Mendilibal with I'm mixing up Mendilibal and Mendilibar. With the way Mendilibar plays, we are unfortunately one-trick ponies because the design is you're supposed to get your best opportunities off the press, but when you get the ball in open play, go to the wings, cross it in. The only way you can insert a little bit of chaos into that and less predictability is to have some players that do not follow the direction and who are willing to go inside, find the lanes in central, and do what needs to be done. But Mendilibar doesn't like that. So then you come to one of those what's the word I'm looking for? It's one of those dilemmas or one of those conundrums.
Conundrum.
Because what we need to insert chaos into the offense is a player that's willing to deviate from the coach's plan to do what needs to be done. But Mendilibar doesn't like that. Those types of players he doesn't want them to see the field because they don't follow his instructions. I can tell you things that I've been told. Diogo Nascimento follows instructions to the T, listens to everything Mendilibar says, and does it, or at least tries, but he follows instruction. Remy Cabella and Yusuf Yazici, they do not follow instructions to the letter that Mendilibar wants. They're creative players. When they see an opportunity, they take it. Who's been seeing more time on the pitch? Well, Diogo hasn't recently, but Diogo so far has seen more minutes total than either one of them have. And he's on the European list. Danny Garcia is another one. Danny Garcia is doing more or less what Mendilibar wants in the midfield zone. He's terrible at anticipating the ball, but he's Mendilibar's guy. We're not getting away from him, and that's the difficult part here. The the uh, the difficult part is, unfortunately, if we want to see some creativity here, we're going to need some players to do what Mendilibar doesn't want, and that's hit the inside lines themselves instead of going out wide. That's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take, and that might see him see the bench, especially if he is not successful at it.
What
That's the worst part about this whole thing. It doesn't make any sense at all. Especially like imagine how many crosses we make into the box and we don't play with 2 strikers.
the question I have is what was truly different when he was using Potenze and Fortunis that weren't at first the biggest followers of the rules. And now he seems like afraid to have either Kabila and or Yazici and Kabila or Potenze. You know what I mean? He did that before. He did that before when we when he inherited the squad. It did not drill. When he had Potenze and Fortunis, even tracking back at the end when we won the Conference League, it can work. I mean, uh, I tend to believe that players like Kabila won't follow instructions at first, but they want to be rewarded with something. You know what I mean? You can't have Kabila at 35 following every instruction to fit into Olympiacos team. And I'm not saying Kabila is bigger than the club. It's not what I'm going to say, but it's I don't know. It comes. I don't know. What did we sign the guy at first? That's the question. Probably that's the true question.
Well, I mean, he was a free agent.
Yeah, he was a free agent, but it almost came out useless when the season started. I mean, it went from a signing to being useless almost. Like Mendilibar wasn't wanting the guy probably.
I mean, I'm sure that it was a very difficult decision with the roster to make those cuts. I'm sure he had some really, really difficult decisions to make. Uh, and we can go on about this all night, really. But my headline is that it's just not good enough so far. It can get very better. It can get so much better because there's so much depth, there's so much talent. Again, I want to go to the mentality. Aris mentioned how all the English journalists were up in arms thinking, my God, how impressive this is that this Greek team, they're pressing high up on the pitch against the mighty Arsenal. That's because they still see Olympiacos as a Greek club. They don't understand that this is a team that had won a European Cup, that made history, that did the unthinkable. This is a team that has made it past the group stages of major European competitions 15 times in the last 17 attempts. The bar is high. If they knew all that, they would have thought to themselves, what I'm saying right now, that not good enough. You gotta do more. No matter who your opponent is, you can't be happy because you looked at your mighty opponent in the eye. So there is a bit of an issue with the mentality right now. Are you confident that things will progress and improve after the international break?
Not really, not really. You know why? Because I said it during the summer that the squad building was not good enough. Because personally, my concern is about the squad building, and I agree with what you say before about people being okay with what we did against Arsenal because we are seen as a great club abroad. Oh, it's only Olympiacos. We can. I mean, on French TV, to be truly honest, it was like the 50 minutes and the pundits were saying like, okay, Arteta can rest the players now because basically because it's Olympiacos. It's 1-0. Olympiacos is not coming back. The team is struggling, and this is the kind of thing I don't truly appreciate. But coming back to the squad building, the issue for me is that when we lost Fortunis, when we lost even Bukhalakis, Masuras, Vrusai, and Doi, you need to replace all those players by Greek players. And you talked about the tough choices of cutting players out of the Champions League squad. I mean, it has to be one of the worst choices you can make as a coach. No debate on that. And I don't truly blame Mendilibar on the choices, but the squad building is off. It's just off. Like we have four fullbacks, four foreigners. Uh, the mid we have like eight midfielders. We are lacking Greek element. We're lacking Greek element, and I just wanted to assess that before we wrap up because I think it's important. It's truly important to realize that if we don't rejuvenate the Greek core, and not only was the Greek player we produced, I mean, the club basically signed Liavas to send him to Rio Ave. Uh, Liavas is a decent Super League player. It would have been useful instead of Dani Garcia, but not as a starter, in my opinion. Athanasiou, for example, why did we sign? Why did we sign Athanasiou to have him playing with Rio Ave when Bruno is not getting any minutes? And it goes on like that because at the end of it, it creates some small issues, and one issue after one issue leads to a disaster with Olympiacos. And unfortunately, you do know that club better than me, but the reason at first when we keep calling guys like Mitchell to fix things, it's because we accumulate players over the years, and that was already what led to the end of Martin's era, in my opinion. And I don't blame Mendilibar on that because he's clearly not the guy building the squad. But as you said, Costa, uh, we also a great club. A great club features great players.
Well, some fans watching the show with us tonight, they did make a good point. I will insist on that. That if we don't beat Ike at Karaiskaki, questions will start to arise. I don't think Mendy goes before the season ends unless he really collapses. Like we're talking about an epic collapse. Like we're talking barely making it to the playoffs kind of thing. But are Olympiacos, let's say, trapped right now with Mendilibar? Because if Mendilibar leaves, which I don't support Mendilibar. I am completely against getting rid of Mendilibar. I'm 100% against it right now. 100% against Mendilibar going. But if it gets to that, can Olympiacos actually do better, Marcial?
I mean, I think we will do better because with the squad we have, it's not possible to lose that league. Honestly, if we do lose that league with a squad like that, I mean, I'm going mad. I'm going mad. Uh, that being said, and I'm sorry to repeat myself, but I think we are stuck mentally in some kind of approach that would basically require any player to be absolute followers of the plan to actually play for the club. You know what I mean? Because the lineup tonight, for me, was almost a message from the coach to some players saying, if you want to play those games, you need to follow my rules. And in a way, it's logical because Mendilibar is the absolute boss. But if it does not allow some players to express themselves, like the creativity Ari was talking minutes before, we're gonna have issues because I think you said that before. Like we're gonna play AEK at home after the break. Uh, we need to win, but we need the kind of win we had last season, like statement win. We need one decent win to launch the season, to put all the negativity a little bit behind, to have like I don't know Yazici smiling, El Kabi scoring on his first chances, Costinha to have a good game, even Biancone to score another. I don't know. We need to put some negativity behind, but it will only happen if Mendilibar moves on a little bit from the plan. It's not gonna change. It's not gonna reinvent its playing style. But something will need to change. Otherwise, it's gonna be difficult.
Do you think Olympiacos will finish in the top 24 in the Champions League?
I don't think so. I don't. You know why I don't think so? It's because for me, we rightly put a lot of pressure into that Paphos game because the schedule was meant for us to win that game at all costs. Like we needed to win that game at all costs because uh, we need to unlock ourselves mentally. You grew up more than me with Olympiacos being a true Champions League club, like winning games like that easily, winning top club, instant club at home, even away sometimes. And we need to go step by step, basically. And what it requires to have a win It doesn't matter the style of that win to unlock ourselves. And Olympiacos reminds me of Marseille in a way because if you guys remember, Marseille had like 13 straight losses in Champions League, and we went years thinking of that when we played Champions League game. Okay, we're gonna lose again. We're gonna lose again. We're gonna lose again, and we ended up losing again, even against Olympiacos with that Hassan late header. And Champions League is very hard but easy at the same time. It's also a lot of mental work. And we entered that game against Paphos almost shaking, man. It's not possible not to win that game. 11 against 10, better team, more quality. We didn't barely add situations, man. And I think we need to unlock ourselves mentally. Mendilibar needs to unlock himself, the players, everyone around the club, because with the talent we had, and I know actually like when Greek press say that, but when it clicks, when it will clicks, when Mendilibar will activate some player, as Greek press says, it's gonna work. But I'm not sure it's gonna work in Champions League because you are facing insane teams, of course.
Well, I mean, we're past an hour here at 307 International. Guys, if you haven't done so, please do like and subscribe and hit the bell to receive notifications of all our latest content. Obviously, support us on Patreon. And guys, if you haven't done so already, you gotta vote for us for the Football Content Awards. We are nominated for the second year running Best International Podcast. Voting closes in a week, guys. So if you could please go on on the Football Content Awards page, the voting page. We have shared it across social media. We're going to keep sharing it. Share the link to your friends, and please do vote for us across your different gadgets. Marcial, we're way past an hour. Would you like? Are there any closing statements you would like to make before we move to Man of the Match and Coach's Grade?
I just want to assess that comment that is on point uh, about Lykoyannis and even Saliakas. I think
Yeah, this one.
we don't truly realize the quality of the academy Olympiacos has, because I remember a lot of debates about players like Vrusai, about Endoy, about Andruchos, about those guys. It is true that no one project himself with those players as Olympiacos starters. It's true, but it doesn't matter. They don't even ask to be starters, and the fact is, we need those guys to be rotation players. Uh, Vrusai isn't. I don't know. He's not Caritas. I'm not trying to say he's the best winger we've seen in Greece, but he's versatile. He works a lot. He's never injured. He can play like at 10 position, and we play in a league in which we are the most dominant club. So there is no reason to send those players to Rio Ave, in my opinion, because when you look at Rio Ave's team, there is too much quality, too much Greek quality in that team instead of being at Olympiacos to fill gaps in the roster. That is what I call true depth in the roster. The depth of Olympiacos has to be more Greek than it is right now. That's it.
Well, that's very interesting as always, Marcial, and I thank you for your comments. Guys, you can find Marcial with us every week at 307 International. Do like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you don't miss any of a lot of different takes in this pod. In my opinion, like I said, nobody here celebrated losing to Arsenal, unlike other outlets. Now moving on to coach's grade and man of the match. I'm gonna make it easy for everyone here. Man of the match was every single Olympiacos fan who stayed in front of that screen, who remained fixed in front of the screen to watch Olympiacos' reprehensible performance, especially in the second half. I cannot pick anyone as a man of the match when losing to this PAOK side, especially after the struggles that they had been enduring. We went through it analytically already. And when it comes to coach's grade, guys, it's an F. Guys, it's an F. Especially if you open the scoring, you're the first team that scores in Toumba this season across all competitions. You score in the first half. You do a great job not conceding by halftime, which is a big thing to do in terms of the mental aspect and the momentum that you bring into the second half. Sorry, guys. To me, this is a major dud. I don't know if you disagree, Marcial.
No, no, no. I agree with you.
Okay, Chiquinho MVP as always. I mean, he is our MVP so far this season. I think we can all agree. He officially now counts 4 goals, which is as many as Taremi. He's our joint top scorer with Mehdi Taremi.
No, but I don't know what to say with Chiquinho because anytime, not tonight, but anytime I have been thinking he was having a shitty game, he was basically saving us anytime he could. So yeah, he's the MVP for me. He's the true MVP, and I would say almost Pirola too, because he was the only defender tonight playing.
Well, we're definitely gonna see Lorenzo Pirola in the Premier League soon. Well, guys, this is all the time that we've had. We thank you so much for joining us. Again, I apologize for absolutely ruining a great thing for all of us after Arsenal. I hope I made up just a little bit, at least for you guys, because you are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. I was Kostas Lianos, or Kostas with a K, with my good friend and colleague Marcial Debeaux. I'm pretty sure it's okay for me to call you with your full name, even though you got this whole R&B thing going on with just Marcial.
No, yeah, you're right. It's because I think it's too difficult for Greek people to pronounce, probably.
Well, I'm sure we're all going to learn. Guys, thank you so much as always. We were Thrilos 7 International, and we are going to see you soon.